Hello, Sid Roth here with Shane Warren, and Shane had a vision of the future of America. Shane, tell me, let's start out about the vision of the storm.
Approximately a year or so ago, I was sitting on the couch. I thought I had fallen asleep, when in reality I was in a vision, an open vision. I have a large screen television in my living room. I was sitting on the couch watching television, and again I thought I was dreaming. As I watched, there was a weather broadcast that was on television, and there was a news anchor who said, the most amazing thing is going on right now. It's tragic, and they were building this news broadcast around this event. And he said, normally hurricanes hit on the coastal lines. He said, but there is a hurricane that seems to be spreading down or coming across the heartland of America. At that point, he showed a satellite image of America, and I was horrified as I watched a storm covering from the northern border to the southern border, from east to west, as this massive storm with the eye right over the center of America, a hurricane coming across the center of America.
How can that be?
This is how I believe it happened. Immediately it came back to this anchor. The anchor said, we have somebody on the ground in the eye of the storm. We're going to go to him now. They pitched it to a news reporter. This news reporter in the eye of the storm, and as you would see in a hurricane, the wind is blowing violently and they're being tossed to and fro. He said, this is the most amazing thing. I don't understand it. This is not a natural storm. That was his words. He said, this isn't normal. He said, look at what it's raining. And he reached down on the ground and he's picking up and he holds in his hand a fist of $1 bills. He said, this isn't natural. It's raining dollar bills. And the anchor and this correspondent went back and forth about the meaning of this dollar bills. He said, I don't understand. It's almost like they're worthless. They're worthless. It was raining dollars. And I saw the incredible changes in the prices of currency. I saw silver, not gold, but I saw silver begin to drastically increase in value. Not gold, but silver, which to me is against my natural thinking. I don't really fully understand. I'm not an economist. I'm a preacher.
Well, I can tell you this. 20 years ago, I had a dream. I've only had a few dreams in my life in which God has come to me and spoken very, very, not symbolically, very clearly. And he told me the same thing. And that's one reason I'm really listening to what Shane is telling us. Go ahead.
I saw with that riots begin to break out. Major cities all over America broke out in riots. People were rioting in the streets. And on the sign is, give us our entitlements. Give us our entitlements. And it was literally war. I mean, it looked like civil war within our borders, but it was all over the issue of the devaluing of money. And then, Sid, immediately I was caught up and I was sitting in a room with world leaders. I can tell you that China was there, Iran was there, Russia was there, and here's what's amazing, Putin was there. And he just got reelected.
So this is going to be soon.
This, in my opinion, this is very soon.
Or it might be taking place now, what you're about ready to share.
I believe it's unfolding in the background. And I believe that governments, world governments, including America, knows it's getting ready to happen.
What was going on with this meeting?
In this meeting, these world leaders were talking about how to devalue the currency of America by buying oil on another currency, with another currency. And somehow or another that would drive down the value of the American dollar. And when this happened, I realized this storm, as I'm sitting here watching this, I woke up and I realized I wasn't in a dream. I was still sitting up on the couch. I was looking at the television and I realized this was an open vision that God was showing me the storm that's about to come to America.
So there are no institutions in the world that have deeper pockets than central banks. I mean, after all, they get to print money. So what does it mean when we learn that China has increased its gold position by 57% and Hungary's central bank just bought a Titian painting for almost $16 million? Now, some would say that their focus should on hard assets, right? That's a warning. I mean, after all, they collect fiat currency. So what does it mean about currency? What does it mean for the global economy? Joining me now, Peter Morici, University of Maryland professor and economist. You know, Peter, China accumulating gold, even the Central Bank of Hungary buying a painting, an old master. What is that telling us? Why are they doing this?
Well, China, Hungary, two separate things. China's been printing a lot of yuan for the last 20 years to keep its currency cheap and build up a big trade surplus with the United States. In turn, they get dollars from that. That's the bottom line. And for years, they've been putting them in Treasury securities. But sooner or later, the dike has to break. China's growing at 7%, the United States at 2%. The Chinese currency is going to rise in value, and those dollars are going to become worth a lot less.
And then I saw September. And I saw the finger underneath the word September, and like emphasizing it, and tapped it 3 times. And then I saw October come up, and then I saw November. And this is when it got real to me in the dream. I think the intensity, according to my Fitbit, when I woke up, my heart rate was about 180. So that was Monday night. It was also a night that I woke up not feeling very well at all. I was up during the night, not feeling well. But anyway, the minute the finger underlined November 3 times, instead of tapping it, I saw a fist ball up and it hit the calendar. And literally, the calendar exploded into the wall. The numbers seemed like they were 3D and they were just flying everywhere. And there was a cloud of chaos that started. And then the next thing I saw was I saw armed protesters. I saw fighting in the streets. I saw people pummeling one another. I saw businesses shuttered and shut up. I saw schools closed. I saw schoolrooms with cobwebs hanging in them, and like things like papers falling off the wall and posters falling, like no one had been in them for months. I saw bank buildings with the roofs being taken off. And it looked almost like alien abduction because money was just flying through the roof into some type of like a vacuum cleaner. I know it sounds kind of strange, but I was watching wealth just being taken. I saw politicians in back rooms making deals with people, patting people on the back and laughing and smiling and smirking. And I saw monuments. I saw Washington, D.C. burning. I saw Washington, D.C. blazing. I saw fires everywhere. I saw people being rounded up. In this dream, we just had a yard sale to help fund a team going to Ecuador this next year. And we had a yard sale. And I had asked our secretary to get us some change for that yard sale. So in the dream that I'm having, I walk into the bank to get some change. And on the door it says there's no change available. I saw the sign, it registered in my mind, but I walked on in, and the president of the local bank was at the teller station, and she was going to be taking care of business. And I said, I need to get $10 in quarters for a yard sale. And she said, I'm sorry, but the U.S. Mint is no longer making currency or making change like pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, $50. We're not doing that anymore. And I was like, well, what do you mean? She said, they've stopped doing it. And I said, well, how are we going to be able to charge $1.50 for anything? And she said, prepare for hyperinflation and just charge $2. And then she said to me in the dream, oh, and by the way, $1 and $5 bills will follow soon after that.
Okay, so we're headed towards this one world currency system. And my natural question is, what's going to happen to the U.S. dollar? I have a personal need to know.
The personal dollar is bye-bye. And the proof of that would be the super billionaire George Soros that most people are aware of. I was watching him on the BBC speak to about 25 million Europeans live, and he quite openly spoke about the fact that the plan is to devalue the dollar. And the purpose for devaluing the dollar is you can't bring in a world currency if you have a strong dollar. So you have to lower the dollar to equalize the playing field. That way you can merge the currencies into a one world currency. And he came out and basically said that on BBC. He was very open. So he said the goal is to devalue the dollar. And then he said we're going to bring in a one world currency. But then he also said that part of the goal is to transfer the wealth out of the American middle class and middle class from other nations, transfer the wealth out of the middle class into third world nations, which some people may think as Christians, but it's going to go into the hands of dictators. So it's going to reduce the dollar, but also it's going to destroy the middle class. You'll have an elite upper class, and you'll have a giant lower class or worker class.